Denise here. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me. It's the 5th of May today and I'm sharing with you the Fanciful challenge that I collaborate with every 5th of the month. The challenge is hosted by Monika, aka Paper Mona, and there are, I think, 8 or 9 other ladies that take part. I'll leave all their links in the description box below and you can go along and see their makes, and you can also join along by putting your make, a picture of your make onto the Facebook page, Fanciful Craft Challenge, and use the hashtag. Again, I'll leave all the information about that in the description below. This month's card is a Double Pop Out Gatefold card, and I have gone back to an old Papercraft Society box, and it was Papercraft Society 58, and it was curated, by Joanne Davis of Time for Tea, and it was all these little cacti and creatures. So I am going to be using some of the stamps from that set and this outside die, and also some of the papers. So let's get on and get this card started. Now, first of all, I'm using a piece of card that measures 10 by 7, and this is a card from Lidl, so it's part of the Lidl card. So for the 10 by 7, we're going to do some scoring, and we're going to score along the 10-inch side at 2.5 and 7.5. So that's 2.5 and 7.5. And then we're going to turn the card onto its short side. And on that score, we're going to fold it over and pop it up to the edge. We're then going to make a notch at 1 inch, 3 inches, 4 inches and 6 inches. And then we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the same on this other side. Let me just move that down, you can see my markings. So we're going to do it at a notch at 1 inch, 3 inches, 4 inches and 6 inches. And then we're going to open it up, and between those notches we're going to score down just between them 2 score lines from the notches. So there we are, 4-inch mark, and then the 6-inch. So as I say, that's just between those notches. So that's how we've got the card there. Then we're going to pop it back onto its 10-inch side, and we're going to mark down in between those larger rectangles. We're going to mark at 5 inches. Just from there down to that first score line, then go down to the second score line and mark up 5 inches to the third one, and then down to the last score line and mark down to the end. So you have got all your markings in between there. Now let's just pop our scoreboard to one side, and we're going to cut down. can find my craft knife. We are going to cut down these score lines. I'll pop it on the metal side. So from that score line, all those that you've cut, that you've scored in between those two score lines, you're going to cut. So let me get that again. So that's one of them done. That's the second one done. I'm always a bit nervous using a craft knife. The inspiration from this card came from Sam Calcott of Made to Surprise, and I'll leave the link to the card she did in the description box below. So that's all our cut marks. That one still hasn't gone through properly. Let's just ease that a bit. There we are. I think that's gone through now. There we are. So they've all gone through. Now we need our scoreboard back. And what we're going to do now, these two rectangles here, we're going to score them. And we're going to score them at 3.5. So just hover down here to this 3.5 mark and score that one. Hover again down to this last rectangle and score that one. And then we're going to go along to the 7.5 inch. No, we're not. It's a 6.5 inch mark, which is here. Hover again down there into this one. Hover there and get into the 6.5 mark there. So that is the main card. But what we need now is another 2 pieces of card, and they measure 3 by 7. And we're going to score this card at 1/2 inch. And we want to do that on the second card. So this will form our gatefold. So that's all the scoring done now. So we can now burnish. Now these all, I'll do this one first. The outside ones need to be valley folds. So we will just burnish that one. This one also needs to be a valley fold. And then everything in this section needs to be a mountain fold. So we just need to nip all these into mountain folds. All that one, all that one, that one, and that one. So this is how it will look. Well, let's just get them nipped well. And if you wished, that could be just a gatefold. Just have it like that, stand it up, and that can be just a gatefold, just one. But we're going to make this a double gatefold, and this is where we bring in our 3.5 inch. So with that 1/2 inch tab, let's is my thing. We're going to burnish that, and we're going to stick that on there. So we're going to put that 1/2 inch tab, we're going to hide it behind there. So let's get that glued on. I hope you join along with us and share your makes with us. I know usually we get a number of people sharing once we've done a new fancy fold. It was actually nice to go back to an old Papercraft Society box. For those that follow me, you will know I've been using a lot of butterflies, and I thought I just need to go and do something different. And I hadn't used these that's it. I hadn't used this kit for such a long time, and I did like the little cacti and things to it. So I thought, oh, you've not done it in a while, let's do it. So that's how you want to put those on. So line it up, bottom and the edge. And as you know, I like using my collal because you do get plenty of wiggle time with it. So that is how it's going to look as a double pop-up. And it will close like that. So all we need to do now is decorate it with our mats and layers. And we'll get on to that. Right, for the mats and layers, I'm using this gorgeous daisy paper. And we're going to put that on there. This measures 6 3/4 by 2 1/4, and we've got 2 pieces of that. So let's get that stuck on. Helps if you take the lid off, Denise. Dear me. So that's going to go on there. Another one. I thought the colours were just spring-like. A couple of days ago I visited a local garden near to me, and it was all the tulips were out. Oh, they were absolutely gorgeous. I hadn't realised there were so many varieties of tulips. They were beautiful. So there we are. That is the paper on there. And then inside I have got some white card, which I've got there, and I've just inked over with shabby shutters, just to take the starkness of the white card away, really, and to blend in with everything else. I just didn't want the stark whiteness. So we'll pop them on there. And the second one. And then for these sides, we need 6. They're the ones, I think. 2, 4. Where's my others? There they are. So we've got 6 pieces of paper, patterned paper again, and these measure 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/4, and we're going to stick them on the edges there. Just leave a nice little border around. Yeah, and then got those on. Now we need these papers for these sides, and for that we've got 4 which measure 3/4 of an inch by 1 3/4, and then we're just going to stick them down the sides there. Then for our rectangles, I've taken 2 more pieces of white card, again gone over it in the shabby shutters. These measure 2 3/4 by 1 3/4, and I've just put a sentiment, hope your birthday is on point, and we're going to stick that onto there. The on point is a reference to the cacti, stamps, etc. And then I've just done another one the same size, again over with shabby shutters. And I'm going to put that on that one. So that's all the mats down on there, and I'm very happy with how that looks. I love the brightness, and that will come out. Just need to just burnish them a little more, and that will come out lovely, and that's how it will sit. So all I need to do now, close it like that, all I need to do now is decorate it with my bits and pieces. So let me get them together and I will be back with you. So now we come to the decorations, and I have taken this die and cut it out, but when I cut the frame I have just kept that side of it, because what I'm going to do is glue them onto here, and I've made 2 for that. So that is just using that die and keeping the one side, just the smaller windowed side. So let's get this stuck on to my white card there. You could, if you wish, put foam tape around here and raise it up, but because of everything else that's going to be popping out and the bulk of it for posting, I've decided just to keep things flat. If I knew I was going to be given this card, I would probably pop them up on foam tape, foam pads. I think it would enhance it a little bit more. As I say, the cost of posting these things out, it's quite expensive here in the UK. So, and it already is. When we get the belly band, it already will be quite bulky. So that's them on there, and I've got these little things to enhance it with. So let's just move that out there. I've got my little rabbit with a watering can. I've done a little tub and put the cacti in, and I don't know if you can see, it's got a little face, and I've put accent glaze on the little eyes. I've done it on the rabbit as well. I've got a little cat, and I've got some more succulents there, and I've got a little mouse and another hanging basket there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the hanging basket from there. So I'm going to glue that sort of hanging from the top of the frame. And I think I'm going to put the cat down there. See, I loved this kit when we first got it. I thought it was fabulous. Have him sat on the shelf. There we are. And where's my little succulent? I think I'll put the succulent there. No, I won't. I think I'll put my little... No, I will put the succulent there, and I'll put the cacti at the other side. I'll do that so it's sitting on the shelf. And then I think I will pop them like that, make it look like the rabbit's watering the hanging basket. And last but not least, my little mouse. I think that's gorgeous. And even the cacti there has got eyes, and I've put glaze on them and on the mouse's nose. So that goes on there. And then what I want to do is just for these, I've got some little pearls that came in the kit as well, and I'm just wondering which ones. Let's have a look. Do I put the green one on? Put the green one on there, and yeah, I'll put another green one up there, so just so it looks like the hanging from there. So that is the main piece of the card. So now, and that's how it will stand up. So I think that looks really nice. I'm very happy with that, and I love those little creatures. So now it just leaves us to make a belly band for the card itself. So let's get on and do that. Right, I've made myself a belly band, and I took a piece of card which was 10.5 inches by 2.5, and I just wrapped it around the card, and I've got like a 1/2 inch overlap, so that by wrapping it around the card, it just makes it easier for it to slide on rather than scoring it. I think just because all the bits and pieces are on the back, you just need to tease it over those bits, so that just slides with not doing the scoring. So that's the belly band, and then I've taken some rectangle squares that I have, and I've made a topper for there, so I'm going to stick those on there. So I'll pop that on the top, And I'm going to get my collal glue to put it on here. So I'm just going to put my collal glue just along this centre bit, because I don't want it to go over the edges there, and just centre that. So that's there. Just need to, I've got some glue and I decanted it into my thing. It's so runny. I don't know where I got it from, but it is messy, so it's going in the bin, I'm thinking. So, and then I've stamped and coloured another one of the stamps in the kit. So, and I put this on foam tape. So I'm just going to stick that on there. I'm going to put some, just a dab, just for extra strength. So that's going to go on there like that. And I'll probably put accent glaze on the eyes there as well. So here is the finished card. It folds down to a 5 by 7 inch card, so go into your 5 by 7 envelopes. So let's take a look. So that is my double pop out gatefold, and what I've done on the back, in order to write your message, I've just done a white strip on there, which is 2 1/4 by 6 3/4. Then I've just put the little piece of paper to match the front of it, and then just another little succulent on there. So that's that. So that is my double pop out gatefold card. So I hope you like that. If you do, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and don't forget to go across and see the other ladies. The links are all in the description box below. There will be certainly some different variations of the double pop-up, I'm sure. So it just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching me once again. I do appreciate you popping over. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.